Hi guys, thank you very much for joining me. Polina here talking to you about April and the full moon in Libra on the 7th. Okay, so we have it. Okay, there is some kind of climax or culmination or some kind of deed or great prosperity or opportunity coming in through the doors. We've got a very beautiful air trine also between Mars, Venus, and the moon. It is a very, very nice, clean time, and for certain people, it'll be somewhere in the throat. So, how I believe it will be is very, very simple. It is kind of like when you don't really understand your opportunities or you don't really understand the full spectrum of a situation or a component in your life. And thus, you probably don't really feel like you belong. So, like sometimes, like we don't really feel the context of our lives. We don't really understand where we're meant to be. And sometimes we also don't really feel to understand how it was. So it's like this kind of like a lost feeling or this inability to fully fit in or to fully practice what you know. And then here's this moon. And to me, it basically feels like it's a lead up to a final connection point or a final eureka. So for some people, I think it'll be like this. I had no idea. I had no idea this is what it is. Or I had absolutely no clue that these were the people that were meant to be in the mix with me, or these are the types of societies or organizations behind a certain thing. So there is kind of like a very, very gobsmacked feeling that I'm getting from this particular event in the sky. And it also feels to me that it's been like a long time coming. So to me, it also feels like there is something in the air that we don't quite understand. It feels to me that it's like for some people, you tell them the most simplest things. You know, you tell them that black is black, white is white, two and two is four, and they don't understand. So the most basic ideas, basic things, and basic um, integrative pointers are not being taken in by the all. So it feels to me that the predator is coming out to play as well as there's going to be perhaps many young ones or many very, very soft souls that are not able to fully yet figure out or really understand the full impact of the situation that we're in right now globally, but also the full experience of their lives. So it feels to be that there is kind of like a gobsmack overall and a sudden recognition of certain global events, or perhaps just a very big truth that is going to come to the surface for most of you guys, or there's going to be some kind of like integrative process that is ready to take place. So to me, it looks like we didn't know, and it's like an all innocence. That's when you, for example, don't know that somebody's been taking money out of your account, okay? And it feels close to home, okay? This is where you probably don't really understand where you belong until you get slotted into the place. And there are certain types of clusters, of events sometimes that happen that make us feel very small or perhaps make us feel very young and in a way innocent and naive. So this is the type of event in the sky I'm feeling that is going to get us very, very excited about something very, very extraordinary that is going to be slot into place in a very, very ordinary, very, very defined way. So one of the things that I'm also seeing in the build-up is people being really frustrated, really annoyed, really negative, or just very jumpy about things. And I've already talked about this during the month of April video, is that we're going to see some egos, and we're going to also see some egos fall, and we're also going to see some things fail because they're just too emotionally evolved, or maybe they're too strong or too large or too primitive. There is kind of like the id and the ego coming out to play, and I believe that there's going to be some very, very strong pushy activity as we have like just a few days left before this event. You might already be seeing it around you. There's like a stroppiness that comes out during this particular time, and also kind of like a very aggressive neo chauvinistic or like a neo egotistical energy that might be not really what it seems. It might actually just be like the animal self coming through, and for some people it is really truly the ego. And also the feeling of not wanting to regret, the feeling of not wanting to do things anew, the fear of a new process, the fear of how to start things fresh. And sometimes older people have this happen, as do young people. It's like, I don't want to do this again. Like, I don't want to start from scratch. I don't want to, bother anybody. I don't want to be bothered myself. Like, there is like this very, very stroppy and also, I suppose, very ignorant way that sometimes people can climb into certain situations where people perhaps feel justice, how people feel justice. What people feel also is wrong in their world is often not what is wrong. So there's like something very, very ridiculous, I feel, coming up till even the 19th, where people are trying to adjust certain problems, they're trying to push each other aside, they're trying to be a part of very odd situations, or they're just trying to understand themselves through very odd things. So this is like where odd behavior is a big thing to watch out for. People saying, no, I want this and nothing else, or I want this person and no one else. So there's this kind of very interesting kind of toddler at a supermarket feeling, as people just really want to believe, or people really want to be that person, or people really want to be part of that game, or be in service even, or be wanted, or be needed. And then there is this also very intense hand to the face. So there's like a hand to the face that happens during Aries time anyway. This is something that people have to know. There's always going to be resistance and restriction. But during this particular wave spell, I actually believe that there's going to be too much anger, too much also irony and negativity, and just like really odd, even unexplainable human behavior, where tastes and fragility and the ego and the id are all playing this very, very interesting charade most of this month. And it feels to me that there's going to be like a very, very tasty and very, very emotional conclusion. So something like, I'm angry, I'm frustrated. Like, if you have been frustrated and angry for a long time, like 5 or 6 years, and then you find out something very, very simple, and it's just a gobsmacked feeling. Like, for example, how much sleep are you getting? Oh, 3 hours a night. Sometimes I can't sleep. Okay, well, that's your answer. You see, like, there's something very, very simple and very, very like streamlined that's going to just come in and kind of smile and walk off. And sometimes it is something very, very silly, like, I can't get the car started, I can't get the car started, I can't get the car. It could be something very simple. It's like, have you got like all of these components in your car aligned? Like, did you, did you wake up on the wrong side of the bed today? And there's like an embarrassment to it, so like there's something very precious and fragile, I think, about us coming out now, even though it might be very ironic and it might be very extreme. So the thing here is, if you are living at home with your family, okay, with your loved ones, with your friends, with anybody, and you're already getting annoyed, or you're starting to see things as annoying, please have compassion. And also try to do your best to equalize and try to look for equality even before and after this moon. Try to kind of sort of shift your weight a little bit and not make a big deal. Because if you, for example, in a tiny apartment or a small home, and you will say like 7 or 8 other people, in the house, or calling you, also from overseas or from around the block, and you've got all these things and all these adventures or all these beliefs, and perhaps you're looking forward to the quarantine to be over. Maybe not yet, okay, for some, for many, for most, for many, it might not be yet. And you're waiting for the sun to shine, and you're thinking, you're already planning your trip, you know what I mean? You're like, I'm gonna get out of here, I'm gonna go. Just be compassionate, and if you can, be polite also, because there's some people that don't really know what's going on, and sometimes it is the unconscious self that makes a qualm. So for example, your partner might be very angry about intimacy issues, or they might be very angry about how much time is spent together, but inside it all is just like malnutrition, or like inability to leave the house, or something else. So there's lots and lots of us having complaints also, and receiving complainers, or just fiery or fragile individuals. And one of the things that you might like to be during this time is just simple, just kosher. Try to keep out of anybody else's business. I mean, this is one of the greatest times to basically call it quits on trying to understand pretty much anyone. So this is not where you like try to teach somebody else how to live their life. This is not where you perhaps want to really mess things up by getting too deep with the conversation. Okay, we have got a very, very, very fragile Mars at a trine. Okay, here, and also being approached by Saturn, we have a very fragile situation, like this one conversation, this one event, or this one big word that could solve, or it could maim forever. So this is like where sometimes arguments accumulate, and it's these types of arguments that we're having now that come from completely fragile, infantile, and unexplained sources that are going to be perhaps at a crux of a career, relationship, or some kind of formation with another person, some kind of contract, or they could be the crux of the beginning of the end. So it's like when couples sometimes say, oh, this is when we started fighting. Okay, couples are tested right now. Okay, or families also. That's when I realized I wanted to leave home. Okay, that's when I realized that I wanted to be with someone else. This is when I realized that I wasn't well, or this is when I truly revealed to myself that I was depressed or disappointed, or I didn't get anything done. But the one safety during a time like this is an alkaline diet, a clean home. Okay, massive improvement there already, I'm feeling, for many people. An organized workload if you're working or if you're creating or crafting, which I believe is a must during this time for many. And just a simple day-to-day life. Sometimes A, B, C is as good as it gets. 2 plus 2 is 4. Okay? There's nothing that you need to do. Black and white are black and white, and there needs to be also something that sometimes people do, perhaps during times like this, on purpose for one another, just to accommodate each other on a level. And sometimes it could be a complete win overall. So just this hug, just one hug, can make you a best friend, okay, during this time. Also, just one definite thank you, or one definite feeling of absolute truth, okay, can fully fulfill you and change you as a couple. So this is where it's make or break. And sometimes during these types of forces, vortexes, is going to either make you or break you as a couple, or make you or break you as a part of something or someone else. So this could be like you on the team, this could be you on the job, this could be in your family, anything to do with groups, collectives, cultures. But don't forget also Libra is about the worth. And sometimes it is about the karmic, how can I say, echo or mirror of who you are, who you were, or who you're going to be. So there's like something of a foretelling during this time. Okay? Libra is a collective 7th house, of course. And the thing here that is going to happen, I believe, is you're going to start to understand how not to do things and how to get things done. And there is one of these things that's going to happen, I think, in this whirlwind between now and maybe the 12th or the 13th or the 11th, is that I believe that this is going to really start to show your color and who you are in a group, collective, couple, or relationship or formation, and how perhaps you have been deluded or uninvolved, or maybe what you haven't been told. And that's like sometimes for some people really hard. So for example, being told, little about where your money goes at the end of the day, or like being told very little about how come this happens or that happens, why there are certain things happening in the world, why there are like certain issues in the family home, or why there's certain trauma, and you don't even understand where it is. So this is like where we are like a child sometimes to another person, or we feel like we are no longer an adult. So like that integrity and that buildup of esteem that Capricorn last year was really, really giving to us is going to perhaps wash over us, and we're going to be like, okay, I thought I was almost at the top of a mountain, but looks like I'm just at the bottom of a very, very huge, ginormous mountain that I didn't even know was real. So there is something uncovered for us all, and I also believe there's going to be skeletons coming out of the closet. And it also feels to me that a very, very formal air, this is like a very, very unique way to find out about things or to realize things during this time, is going to be perhaps a very formal way or a very formal air as to how clean we are and how together we are and how perhaps contained we are? And do we need to be more contained and more in control of ourselves and each other? Or do we need to actually let go and perhaps allow the fact that we don't have enough maturity to control? We don't have enough, perhaps, logistical understanding, or like we don't have enough materials, or maybe we don't have enough professionalism to be able to contain something. So this is kind of a question of what is open and loose and what is contained and contracted, because Venus in Gemini is never really about letting it go. It's all very contracted stuff. And this is at a trine with Mars and the moon here. And also it feels to me that as we have passed Chiron, we've got Mercury and Neptune conjunct in Pisces, and the 12th house to the sun, collective, also 12th house of Mercury and Neptune conjunction. We don't have to, at this point, exclaim or push or make any very fragile or very intense or intriguing motions. And it feels to me that we're already doing that. Okay, so it feels to me that we just have to basically wait it out. We have to be compassionate, and we've got to stay still for a while and kind of like remember, take note. Okay, I'm not actually that evolved, or like, okay, this I don't know how to do, or like that is like children's arithmetic, and I'm still not sure, like, say, how to take care of myself, how to keep my children quiet, how to connect to my partner. I still don't know. So like that is like the most beautiful part, is like, because we need room to grow in Aries. But this is also the thing, is some of us are going to get very monumental about it. Also, Libra is feeling very, very extreme and very Viking faced. I made that sort of like, I suppose, made up that term in the Patreon videos for Libra. Viking faced. So there's like an intensity to Libra in general, in terms of being occupied by Aries in a sense. We're very, very flirty and very fragile during this time, and quite often it's a very social time for us, but we're cooped up at home. I mean, it doesn't mean a thing, but the thing here is that Viking face, or that intensity, that Viking face, that, sorry, that intensity starts to really show us, how can I say, up or down. And it starts to basically place us into certain stages of development and into certain parts of society. I'm also, of course, seeing people being detained, in hospitals and things like that, or institutions or facilities. But this is not it. This is not the point. Some of the time, when you are in a place of stress, or you are in a place of learning, actually, and changing and shifting, perhaps realizing that you actually have a long way to go, and recognizing where you have just way too much space to grow, okay? That innocence has to be fulfilled in a very pure and ordinary way. Like, okay, right, I recognize, like, say, I'm not a very good mom, or like, okay, fine, I understand I'm not a very good doctor, or like, okay, I understand now that in terms of the situation in the world, perhaps I'm not a very good leader or something like that. So you basically like understand it, and there's like a very, very beautiful humbling that comes with it, and an open face and an open heart. Take me to the place where I can learn a bit more about this. You know what I mean? It's like, please give me support. You know what I mean? It's like, yes, please, I would like to know more about this. Yes, I am welcoming change. Yes, I'm welcoming the fact that I don't remember, for example, what to do at home anymore. I don't know how to keep a house. I don't really want to, or like I don't really understand like intimacy between me and my partner now that we're together in such close proximity. Anything, or like I don't know how to make money anymore. Okay, and that is beautiful. So you come out as a perfect person here, and just say it like it is. Just say it like it is. Like, okay, I don't know which way, or like, I had no idea. And the thing is, like, the most fragile and the most kind of open-hearted people at this time on the 7th, and especially the 8th and the 9th, all up till the 12th, are the most sincere and often the most curious for others. It's like, whoa, you realize it? Like, wow. Sometimes we like a fragile person. Sometimes we like a teacher who's also a student. Okay. Sometimes we like an entrepreneur who can recognize their losses and their incoming and their outcoming. We also sometimes need a skeptic, okay, as well. but a skeptic cannot be fully boneheaded and dead in the heart. So this is when we are once again tested as to who we are and how we are connecting to each other and like the whole world. So also another thing here I'd like to, I suppose, learn about or talk about is the fact that Pig Year has placed us. You know, there's lots of people saying, I don't want to be here. You know, I don't want to be stuck at home with this person. Or la la la. But there's like quite a lot of anger and like really shallow behavior that is coming through because people don't really know the implication of these types of shifts that we are going through right now. You know, massive monster shifts. It's a monster shift. You know, and this is like an epic full moon. You know, and the thing here is that I already talked a little bit about how at the end of Pig Year, towards Rat, we're going to get placed somewhere. So this is like a year of the family gods, year of context, year of karma, Pig Year. Okay, so recognizing how you place in society, realizing who your loved ones are, realizing what your trauma is, what your family trauma is, like how it all sits together, like how it all works. You know, as like a universal package, or like as a side, how can I say, as a side of humanity. You know, you're one of the sides of humanity, if you can imagine humanity being multi-faced. Okay, so the thing here basically is that all we have to do really is to understand where we're being placed and with whom, and there should be no irony here. So especially if you're a traveler, especially if you move around a lot. Okay, so you are stuck, say for example, in the same house as your ex. There's something interesting about this. Okay, so you are, you know, say welcoming the new year. It's already New Year. Oh, it's beautiful. See, I didn't know how to do this. Very, very fragile. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so like for example, you're welcoming the new year and you're realizing that you're spending it with like say a sick parent or a sick child. And there are lots of people that are just really annoyed about where they are and who they are and how it all looks to another. Because as if we're thinking that we're going to come out again, we're going to like wear our fancy clothes and we're going to somehow commemorate each other on each other's style, and we're going to like fall in love again with this kind of like egoic hullabaloo that's been building up since like 2012, maybe 2013, you know. But that's not going to happen, I believe. And the thing here is that also I trust that we just have to be all right and placed and kind of humbled and also just innocent about the fact that we are all kind of at home. Like, there's not actually a lot of people, I believe, that right now are just out, just nowhere. And also, I talked a little bit about the pig year and the last phases of it and the beginning of Rat is that we just had to be placed and be contained and be connected to something or somebody. And to be a person right now without a home, without a context, without a family, without a loved one, without an income, without any kind of true stability and true unity with people and understanding your demographic, you know, understanding your country, your city, everything overall. To be that person, the free radical who just doesn't understand where they fit, is very difficult. So that's already been discussed in previous videos. And I'm also kind of like seeing that now, if you are robust, if you have a routine, if you have like a mother or a daughter, you know, father, son, you have somebody in your house that you can rely on. Also, if you have certain things that you're doing and also community perhaps that you're already starting to embellish or enable to do what it couldn't do before. If you're already showing your true skills and talents, which should have come in at the end of Pig, if you are becoming a deliberate creator and not being ashamed of who you are and where you're from, your cultural heritage, and how your body or your spirit, your mind naturally associates with certain people and things, if you are very, very clean and very open to just being of service and being who you are, and you're absolutely beautiful and absolutely strong, after this transit, I think you're going to probably do the best. But that's not where we are, you know, and we also like live in lots of different cultures and demographics here. I mean, we have like, for example, you know, the self-prostitution that the modern age is kind of like requiring of us. We have a lot of people not really knowing who they are, where they belong, and they're all trying to mimic each other. We don't really have that one cultural base. You know, for many of us, we're scattered between different cultures, different tribes, and different ways of looking at things. You know, there's all these things to take care of, there's all these things to associate with. But the thing here that is the most basic thing is just know you. Okay, so your income, you know, your money, you know, how you do, what you are, like how you act in society, like how you are with other people. Do you give? And I hope that you do. Do you take care, without martyrdom? Do you give and take, in proportion, which is what Libra is about? Can you listen and can you say, do you have a nice equilateral, like just like equal connection to all things? Have you got a very, very positive, perhaps, and a very robust and healthy view on things? Or do you kind of feel that you're between it all? And this is where the root system is very important. Okay, so like I'm starting now to actually disable my chakra system, which is an interesting thing. By accident, just like fell into this kind of thing. But if you are working, of course, most of us work with the chakra system here. So like the root chakra needs to be fine. So no fear. I hope that you enjoy what you're eating. I hope that your body and your mind are like robust. And sometimes the greatest thing is to give your body what it trusts. If you are really nervous, also, as Libra is the end of the digestive process, it is the elimination process. Sometimes, we feel all cooped up or weird or crazy and all emotional and sharp. And sometimes it's just because we haven't passed stool properly or something like that. And it could be a completely biological root chakra thing. And some of the times, like as I said earlier, there could be completely simple resolve to anything. So, for example, okay, this person doesn't digest food very well, the person is nervous, the person just lost their job, or this person doesn't sleep a lot, or this person has no way of making income, or this person has no room in a family, or hasn't realized their space in the family. This very simple id and ego stuff, that's happening. And mostly just address the id. Sometimes it's just a person who hasn't had enough sleep. Libra also rules rest and the letting go. So it is the elimination process in the body, but also just rest. And just the ability to relax and the vulnerability that comes with it as well. The vulnerability that comes with being a relaxed person. And also, one of the, I suppose, best or better things to do is just to keep it on the low down. Okay, keep it on the low down if you could. Try not to get too ecstatic, even if your country or like somebody, you hear someone saying they're going to open the doors, they're going to open the airports or something in like 2 days, and that might not happen. Okay, if you've planned a big escape, if you plan to like leave your husband or wife or run away from home, that's probably not going to happen just yet. Okay, so that full freedom, just coming back to work and doing what you want, not for all people. For some, yeah. But also it feels to me that there's going to be some very sloppy work. And I already talked about this in the April video. There might be some very, very sloppy work with our environment. There might be very, very sloppy way that people try to hook up community. There might be some very, very sloppy enterprise. So the thing here is that we need you, like in a sense, to be calm here. It's good to be calm, okay? But on the other hand, it also, I feel, is needed to be robust and compact or placed enough with this very intense Venus and Gemini, and also an aspect to Mars and Saturn conjunction. So like we need to kind of be placed and kind of packed as well. So this is not just about like relaxing, just letting it go, it'll be fine, I'm just gonna go back to work. You may not go back to work, that's the thing. And also to basically try and create as much harmony and equilibrium, Libra moon, supermoon actually, as much harmony and equilibrium and politeness and perhaps the air of simplicity and the air of freshness and just like a nice vibe as possible. And also it's coming to me that there are certain people that might get booted, okay, and expelled or exposed. And there's going to be certain people that are going to, for example, keep their jobs or keep their ego center with other people clear. So the ego center, how I act, how I am, what I look like, what I am being with other people, ego center, Aries, okay? That equilibrium needs to be, and it needs to also have room and time to breathe. So the thing here is that it is very, very certain that there's going to be certain people that is not going to be available for certain jobs anymore. Because they have acted out. There's also very likely that after the global events leading up to the 19th or the 18th of April, there might be just a very, very shocking news, a very, very weird thing that happens as people do not know how to handle themselves, also in the government and the political systems. And it could also be very, very, very scary for some people to, for example, see the husband or their wife or their employer or employee fizzle out, make some false promises, or just like act out on some very, very nervous, energetic level. And then at the end of the day, there are certain people that are going to be involved, and probably always, because the blueprinting energy and the collective, the climate of the collective rejoices here because it gets to choose with the stellium between Capricorn and Aquarius, actually. So it's like, it's very, very clear picture to me. So there's like always someone watching, and there's always going to be some kind of surveillance over that which you say and what you do. And it also feels to me that there's got to be kind of like a culture of the past that can be trusted, or like a robust, significant method of doing things. Like it can't just be all over the place. It cannot just be loosey goosey during this time, although some people are going to try and take into advantage of the fact that people are shocked or feel demoralized by their current circumstances. And I also believe and trust that by about the 20th till the 28th that we're gonna have a new system come in. But for now, we are watched, and we're all watching each other. Okay, how this person acts, how they acted out, because I did this or that. It could be on any level. It could be political, societal, cultural, practical, friendship level, and family level, of course. How did this person say this? How did this person do that? And sometimes there are going to be people that are going to be booted forever and not being able to say no. Like people can just get a letter of being void from a job. People can get displaced from a whole situation. People can get completely rock solid ruled out if you were already expecting it. Okay, like say getting fired, or being unable to participate in a certain experience with somebody or something that might happen now. But it feels to me that a lot of it can be salvaged, okay, by just minding your own business. Do your own thing. You know what I mean? Like just do your own thing. Like every day. Like don't try a lot. Like don't try a lot to like, how can I say, make believe, or try like, oh, I'll make it anyway. Like I don't have enough money, say for example, to cross from one city to another town, but I'll just wing it. I'll just wing it. So there could be sometimes terrible things that happen with people that have sloppy preparation, people that don't know what they're doing, people that don't have the stability and the adulthood behind them to really keep them together. But I also believe, this is really like crazy interesting, there's going to be some people that are going to show their colors in the last minute. And then there's going to be some people that are going to be probably like forever or indefinitely employed or united. I think that there's going to be new collectives, and very much on the down low, okay, associations and affiliations opening doors. I think there's going to be certain people, if you are a very, very, very happy person and you are very strong in heart, and you are stronger maybe even than you think, if you can be in the face of fire, you can be in the face of anger or face of issue, and you can still create a nice, calm, relevant, and adult result. They're going to be probably chosen, and maybe forever. So there's like families opening doors, there's like clubs, clans, and also secret associations, organizations, or like very, very important cliques. People that come together sometimes during this time are very interesting. So it's like from the down low, from underneath, from beyond. It's like, psst, I know you. I know you good. I was like, hey, I've been looking at your videos, or like I've seen your ethic, or I've seen how you work, or I've seen how you work things out. It's like a very secretive feeling, and it's very much about camaraderie. And to me, it's not just friendship. It's more like, can we please work with you in the future? Or can we please get together sometime? Or like, can we please exchange numbers? But this is not just a social clique. This is more like, can we be brothers, and can we share bread? And there's going to be some people that are going to be very, very way out there, beyond their own means. And I also believe that there's going to be a secret, low down, maybe even cultural, personal dash professional wake up call to some people, because there are some of us that are going to get put into the most organic, natural, human placements, okay, with work, with relationships, with situations, with anything, with associations, but it feels like a brotherhood. Like it feels really human. It feels very appropriate right now. Not because we've done the work, because we've been to the university and because, like our parents know somebody important or we have enough money to afford a certain thing. No, 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 no. It's no longer because we come from a certain even demographic or culture or like a culture of success, like a successful family or like a successful institution. It's actually not to do with that kind of like Russian people say лицемерие, it's like it's not to do with that sort of like, I suppose, two-facedness, I guess, it's not to do with the masks, it's not to do with the regalia anymore. I actually believe that people are starting to sniff each other out on a very, very spiritual level. And I think that many doors are going to be mega shut when a person is not spiritually, energetically, emotionally, or vibrationally fitting. And there are going to be massive doors open and very, very secret passages, and perhaps also for life affiliations created for certain even parts of society, certain people. There are going to be maybe people aiding certain people in certain parts of the world and things like that. If there is, okay, a natural, associative, emotional, energetic, spiritual, societal, maybe to a degree, maybe even demographic connection. So it's like, are you in or are you out? What makes the cool kid these days? So that's going to shift a lot. And I also trust that this Mars accentuating Saturn and Jupiter right behind Saturn at this incredible trine with Moon and Venus, I think they're going to really show the world, and also this year and the next year is going to start to really surface how we deal with each other, how we, in a sense, grade each other, okay, Libra, okay, what we believe here and now is possible, ultimate, or how can I say, legitimate, and how we perhaps don't any longer want to associate, and what we don't really want to see in the world anymore. This is a huge change of culture, and I suppose like social values happening underneath it, but you might already notice it in your own world. So yes, some of these different vibrations and trends are long lasting, and I believe that for some people at the end of this transit, also towards the 18th or 19th, if it's a yes, it's a yes, and if it's a no, it's a no. So I hope that you have very calm, very peaceful events. If you don't have a lot of control over your fire, I think you will probably at least learn how to navigate through it. And if you do, I congratulate you if you're a fully fledged adult and you can like hold your shit together. Libra, eliminatory process. And if you like, also maybe connect to somebody else during this time, who knows. So for instance, you don't know how to take your website anywhere right now. Connect to somebody who knows. You're not sure how to make money in the hospitality industry right now. Make friends with somebody who does, and so on and so forth. So this is about rubbing shoulders and getting ideas, but not being a parasite anymore. Okay, so I talked a lot about parasites in the previous COVID video. Not to try to push your own agenda and not to try just to get your own money, your own worth, and kind of like shut people out and use social distancing as a kind of like passive aggressive tactic with people. Although I understand that for some people that is safe. And also, it's important not to dominate anyone, even if you understand they have great maturity and you have a great force behind you or between you. It's good not to dominate anyone. So yeah, one last thing. I'm going to talk a little bit about my channel and stuff, but first I'm going to turn the video to the side because there's some really cute cows. There's some really, really cute cows out here. I just wanted to show you the cows. Also because I talked a little bit about like the animal industries and stuff in the last video. So these are so beautiful. So thank you very much for enjoying my channel. Thank you very much. If you'd like to sign to my YouTube, please do. And yes, of course, I have a Patreon channel. So if you would like to know more about your specific sign for April month and the next, please have a look. All the videos are up there. And I will be also talking about the new moon coming on the 23rd, the new moon in Taurus, very, very shortly. Yes, and I hope that you exist, sorry, exist peacefully during this time, and hopefully that everything is fine and fine-tuned enough to be able to kind of predict the next phase of your life. And I'm thankful for you and your story, and I'm thankful for you connecting to me during this time. Also, I am offering videos and readings and writings and everything like that for you if you like. If you would like to check out my website, you can. I have more books coming through, but at the moment I only have, I believe, 7 books in total. If you'd like, you could check them out in the links below as well. And also, if you like Facebook, I'm still on Facebook. Yeah. And also, I am still on Instagram. So if you'd like to check out those medias, have a look. And yeah, whatever way is more appropriate to connect. Thank you very much. Enjoy, and I hope you have a blessed moon.